What's good, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Pull Up. I am Tony Ramsey, giving you a quick recap of last night's NBA action. 6 games on the schedule last night. Had a couple close ones and a couple pretty good blowouts there. And we'll also talk about tonight's schedule of games, give you my predictions for who I think is going to win those games, and also some latest news from the NBA. One of the big things was in the game from last night where the Warriors visited the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. Warriors end up pulling away in this one, 128-100, behind 41 points from Kevin Durant. I think Steph Curry had 29 points there. And funny thing in this game, Demarcus Cousins from the bench was not playing and still got ejected for a technical foul. I believe he was trash talking with Enes Kanter from the Knicks before the game. NBA got wind of it and kept a close watch on him. Cousins kept wolfing throughout the game, got a little bit chippy with the referee, and got ejected. This might be one of the only times you see a player that was injured and not playing in the game get kicked out, but with Demarcus Cousins, not surprised. I mean, Boogie has a little bit of a temper. This does happen, and if anything, it makes that game a little bit more interesting because it was not pretty fun to watch late in the game as Kevin Durant took over in the fourth quarter and, as I mentioned, put up those 41 big points. Some news there for the Knicks. Frank Ntilikina had his first start of the season and had 17 in that starting at point guard. Only had 2 assists. You might want to see him distribute the ball a little bit better. But the Knicks are a team that's they rely heavily on a lot of isolation plays. And Tim Hardaway takes a lot of shots there. So not a bad showing from Ntilikina in his first start of the season at point guard. Other action, we had the Hornets over the Bulls, 135-106. In this one, another big game from Kemba Walker. Looks like he put up 30 points in this win on 11 of 18 shooting in only 26 minutes. Pretty easy work there for Cardiac Kemba. For the Bulls, Zach LaVine had 20 points in the game, his lowest scoring output of the season. And something to watch here, Jabari Parker off the bench with 19 points but only 2 rebounds. The Bulls really don't rebound the ball very well at all, even though they do have some size. And they did allow the Hornets to shoot 57% from the floor. They went 53 from 93 and hit 14 threes. Defense optional here for Chicago. Raptors over the Mavericks in Toronto, 116-107. In this one, we had Kawhi Leonard putting up 21 points, 9 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals. 20 points from Kyle Lowry, who was shooting the ball extremely well early in the season. He shot up 8 of 14 from the field here, also chipped in 12 assists. Danny Green with 15. Serge Ibaka off the bench with 11. And for the Mavericks, Luka Doncic put up 22 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. Only 3 turnovers, which is pretty good for a rookie playing against a pretty strong Toronto defense there. He looks like the real deal going into early in the season. No Dennis Smith in this game, as he did injure his ankle in the Mavericks' last game there. Mavericks are now 2-3, where the Raptors are a surprising 6-0 to start the season. Clippers over the Rockets in Houston, 133-113. Ouch. For this one, the Clippers had a pretty balanced output here. Montrezl Harrell off the bench with 30 points in 28 minutes. Who else? Lou Williams put up 23 points on only 9 shots. And for the Rockets, no James Harden this one. He's out with I think he has a strained hamstring, but Chris Paul did return from his suspension. 12 points, 8 assists, and only 3 of 14 from the field. The Rockets shot 38% from the field in this one. 15-41 from 3, whereas the Clippers shot 54%, made 12 threes, and only missed 3 of their 38 free throw attempts. The Rockets' defense is atrocious. You can't give up 133 points to a Clipper team without a bona fide star, especially when you're playing at home. The Rockets are now 1-4 in the season and looking like they are quickly. They are no longer the same team they were last year. So people think it's a hangover from them playing last season. I think they're just not as good. They're not coming up surprising people anymore. And they seem a little bit disjointed after they gave up a couple of big pieces in Trevor Ariza and Rashard Mbamute. So we'll see if they can come back and make a run at this. They're still going to win 50 games because they just have too much talent. But I don't think they're no longer the cream of the West. They can't contend with Golden State, but really who can at this point? But I think that Utah and Denver at this point in the season might be a better team than Houston. At least they are by their records. Another score from last night, we had the Bucks over the Timberwolves, 125-95 in Minnesota. In this one, Minnesota did have all of their players except for Andrew Wiggins, but that didn't really make big difference in this one anyway because the Bucks got whatever shot they wanted. They shot 53% from the field. The Bucks are actually shooting extremely well from three-point range this year as well. They're in the top 5 so far, whereas last year they were in the bottom third in the league in three-point shooting. They made 19 threes in this one. Pretty balanced output there. No one had more than 16 points, but they did have 2, 3, 4, 5 people in double figures, and everyone that played at least scored a bucket here against the Timberwolves, who got 16 points from Karl Anthony Towns. Jimmy Butler, 4 points in this one, only 2-11 from the field. Nothing really here, no bright spots here for the Timberwolves. They shot 32% from the floor and shot the ball 112 times. That's pretty bad. They look like a team that needs to go ahead and move Jimmy Butler as soon as possible so that they can at least look at this year as a rebuilding season because they're not going anywhere anymore. It's just the Timberwolves, their chances are pretty much shot at this point. Another late game here, we had the Nets in a close one against the Pelicans, 115-117. This one was played in New Orleans. New Orleans goes on to keep their undefeated record pretty spotless there. They're 4-0 in the season. Brooklyn's now 2-3. D'Angelo Russell with 24 points in this one for Brooklyn. For the Hornets, we did have Drew Holiday put up 26. Anthony Davis with 18 points and 14 rebounds. And in the late game, a shocker here, the Wizards drop another game here. This one to the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento, 116-112. John Wall did put up 26 points and 8 assists, and the Kings were anchored by, looks like Buddy Hield with 22 points. Iman Shumpert was scoreless. De'Aaron Fox with another 18.9 9 assist game here, where the Kings, they're a little bit of a surprise early in the season. They are 3-3 so far this year. Wizards are 1-4, but again, they do play in the East. They still make the playoffs at some point. You can make the playoffs with only 40 wins in the Eastern Conference. Their conference is pretty weak, so nothing really to worry about here with the Wizards, except for they just really don't shoot the ball that well from outside. You need more shooting in today's NBA. Now, on tonight's schedule, we have about a ton of games here. We have the Celtics visiting the undefeated Pistons. That should be a pretty exciting game there. I'm going to go ahead and give this one to the Pistons. They've been playing extremely well, especially at home. Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond are a pretty good combination there so far early in the season. Hopefully they can stay healthy. No Luke Kennard in this game. It's going to be a pretty big loss for the Pistons as he is their best outside shooter. Jazz visiting the Pelicans. Another pretty good game here early in the year. I think Utah takes this one. They're coming off a big road win against the Rockets early in the season. Early in the week. Donovan Mitchell appears to have gotten out of a shooting slump, so I think they will be able to play enough defense to keep the Pelicans at bay. No pun intended, but I think the Jazz will hand the Pelicans their first loss of the season tonight. Bulls visiting the Hawks. This game is going to be pretty trash. Two terrible teams. Both of them like to just run and gun, shoot a whole lot. Trae Young will probably go off here because the Bulls don't have any real defense. I give the Hawks the advantage here. Pacers visiting the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers do not have a win yet. That will continue tonight. I think Indiana blows them out in Cleveland. Charlotte against the Sixers in Philadelphia. I think the Sixers find a way to even their record if everyone is healthy for this game. They are only 2-3 to start the season, but I think tonight they get their third win of the year pretty easily there. They are favored by 6. I think they will cover that spread. Portland Trailblazers against the Miami Heat in Miami. I'm going to give this one to the Heat as they do play pretty well at home. I like their defense. Now, I think that Damian Lillard will still have a pretty big game here, but I think Miami has enough to win. They are favored by 1.5 points. I think they win this one by 3. Suns at the Memphis Grizzlies. Give this one to the Grizzlies. They do play pretty well at home as well. They are favored by 8.5 points. Not sure if they're going to have Devin Booker healthy for the Suns to this game. He did leave their last game against the Lakers with an injury in the third quarter, so we'll see if he's healthy for this one. Magic at Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee take this one pretty easily. They are favored by 10 points. I give this one to the Bucks. And in the late game, we have the Lakers at the Spurs. Lakers have won two in a row now. I think they continue that streak going on and get their third win of the season. A big road win here over San Antonio, who's only Lakers are favored by 1.5. I think they cover that spread as well. That is all the time that we have for today, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to today's edition of the Pull Up. Please leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about my picks. Also, if you guys like this video, hit the like button down below. Make sure that you subscribe. Also, leave my Twitter link down below. Make sure that you follow me there. Again, this has been Tony Ramsey. This is today's edition of the NBA Pull-Up. See you guys again soon. Peace.